It's season number 9 as the Budapest Honvéd manager, and we are now considered a 4.5-star reputation manager who is known for leading his sides to title wins, playing attacking football, preferring defensive football, preferring a possession-based style of play, and playing entertaining football, which is also high-tempo pressing football. We have a lot of talk about signing young players, and we're also known for avoiding players approaching the second half of their careers, which might be ambitious and might be something else, but I thought I'd show you this here and now before we go forward. The league has moved up the 12th place in the competition rankings list, which is really good. We are now the highest 3-star reputation league, which is very promising indeed, and I'm hoping this can continue to progress. We have also moved up 18 places in the coefficients, so that's promising as well. And the fact we're now in the top 30 is very exciting to say the least. I'm hoping we can keep this up. We also just need to be concerned about potentially making sure that the year we're losing isn't going to affect us too badly, because if we lose it, we go down several positions right now. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's the end of the world. With 30th place, hopefully the coefficients we're going to get is useful. And now I've confirmed that this is what's going to happen. We are going to enter the Champions Path playoff at the end of August, so we don't have to play as many games in the Champions League this season. In a few years' time, we may enter the Champions League phase automatically, which would also be delightful. To no one's surprise, we are still the best team in the entire country, with just one player away from having all of the 11 players in the Media Dream 11. The fact that Budapest Academy have the last player is interesting, but he's not particularly great. He's only there because he can blitz play the wing back. That's it. That's no other reason for it. But if we look at this, Fo and Var are in the Champions League this year. They will enter it in the second quarterfinal round, which is the only downside here. They take on Dynamo Kiev, which again, not ideal, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Fo and Var, who sacked their manager, will enter the playoff round of the Europa League. So they are definitely in the Conference League regardless, which is very promising, and I hope that they can at least get to the Europa League phase at the end of the day. They don't have a manager right now. I have no idea who it is that would take over the job, but their wage bill is now half of ours, and they've barely got any money. I mean, they did win the Europa League many years ago, but that was a thing that they did in the 60s, you know, when Hungarian football was actually quite good. Budapest Academy will enter the second quarterfinal round of the league phase of the Europa League, which isn't great, but it also means that potentially we can get some good things here. I hope they do well. While Girmont enter the second quarterfinal round of the Conference League, which, let's be honest, I don't expect them to do well in, but if we can get at least 3 teams, maybe even 4 teams in the league phase of European competitions this year, that would be delightful. The dream would be one day to have 5 teams in the league phase of every European competition, and then to have a 6 or 7 teams further down the line, but that is a long shot right now. I am just content with how this is going. Just give me what I want, and I'll be happy. I just want to have more money in the sponsorship as well, so if we can get to £10 million in the future, that would be delightful. I believe the TV deal is ending soon, so the new TV deal will start in the new season. I don't know how much it is, but as far as I'm aware, it is definitely going to increase, so that's good. Prize money has gone up from when we started this league, so I hope that the TV deal will also improve as well, given the quality of players we are bringing in, and given the reputation of the league has now gone up again. So, as far as I'm concerned, surely that means more money comes into the league. Right? Right? We have got a lot of players right now that are really highly regarded in terms of reputation. Some players will be homegrown, others will not. Kamani missed out on the USA tournament squad, which is not ideal for him, but he's also out on loan to LA Galaxy. No, that's a lie, Pax well, so I'd hope to do well. He only played 5 times. Oh, goodness me, Paxwell have absolutely messed with his development. Good thing he's coming back in July. But homegrown status is important for me. Hasbro will be homegrown at club in 2 years' time, and we got some players who are going to be homegrown at club this month. Torrijano and Robledo are 2 players who will be homegrown with club and nation soon, so that's important for me. Robledo, I would let go out on loan once he's got the homegrown status, because at this point, we don't need to worry about it so much anymore, and his potential isn't going to be great. I think he might be a player I just sell this year. He is wanting on loan, but I'm going to wait until we get to the homegrown stats being confirmed before I let him go out on loan. Mostly because he does need the development, but I also need the homegrown status, so we can wait a few weeks, I think. But next year, we'll have Brian Law and Garnev getting homegrown at club status, so that's a promising sign. We've got a load of players already homegrown as it is. Botse wants to leave, though, and he wants to leave for a bid for £2.9 million, so I'm actually going to let this guy go, because despite the fact he's my captain, and he's done so much for me in the past, I think it's time for him to be let go. I'd like to send him to a club in our nation, but I don't think anyone's got the money for that, so that's a thing. I will let him go to a club in our nation at some point, though. He's been at the club since the very beginning, but he wants to leave because he wants a new challenge. I'm not going to get in his way. I think he deserves a chance to experience something new. But at the end of the day, I think he's been really good for me, and I've tried to keep him in my squad for the entirety of the series, and I think I've done a good job of that. So hopefully one day he will be able to become a coach for me, because honestly, for me, the dream would be to have this guy as a coach so I can get him back and make him someone that is integrated into the club for the longest of times. I love Button and Botse, but I wouldn't be against selling him at this point if he wants to go. He's done so much for me over the years. I also want to take over the Hungary job at one point, even though they are second in the European Championships right now, ahead of Italy, who managed to lose to Denmark. I didn't think this was possible, but they drew the first two games against Denmark and Italy, and then managed to beat Azerbaijan and Cyprus. So I'm starting to look at this thinking, Hungary have a chance to get through to the European Championships next year. And I think after that happens, we'll be fine, but they do have some games left that they should win. San Marino tries, for example, is definitely those two games they should be winning. They have Denmark at home, then they have Italy away, which I don't think they're going to win, but then they have Cyprus away and Azerbaijan at home. So with these games they have, I think they should do well. I'd love to take over Hungary at one point and make this my team that I can help develop into a very big superpower, because I want to win European gold as well. I want to win international gold. Even though I know international management is not amazing, I feel like this is the nation I want to do it with. And I think the fact they got to the World Cup final twice and the European Championship third place once, I want to bring back the golden team. I feel like that if I can help that happen, that'd be great. Even if we don't have amazing talent in the country, if we can export some talent to European places and make them better, that's great. If we can make our nation better, domestically and internationally, then I think I've done a good job personally, but that's just me. We have £40.6 million in the bank. I've actually tried to sign a player this year, but he's refused to sign for me because of the, well, he doesn't think the standard of living in this country is very good, which might be interesting. That player is Roberto Ruiz. I really want to sign this guy. He wants to go to Tottenham. I tried to sign him. I actually agreed a £9 million bid with Pumas de la Humar, and he rejected me, so that's a shame. I would love to get this guy. I think he would absolutely improve the DM position, and if I compare him to Balanta, who is my number one choice right now, I honestly believe that he would improve the squad, even if it doesn't look like it, but it's just a load of things in the role that I'm looking for. The deep line playmaker on defend, I definitely think he improves the squad. I hope that one day I can convince him to sign for me, even if right now I don't think he is going to. And I definitely have tried to convince him to sign for me. But yeah, he's concerned about moving here because of the infrastructure and the standard of living in the country. It's literally the only reason he's not going to do it. And that's a shame. But if I can get him to sign, that's great. And that's a shame. It's really annoying that I can't get him to sign. If I can convince him to sign for me, I absolutely would. He wants to go to Tottenham. He wants to go to the Premier League. If I can get him to sign for me, that's great. But this guy is very much important for my plans and ambitions. And I feel like I need to just improve the squad as a whole. I've got enough homegrown talent at this point so I can just generally say, look, I can make this team better. If I need to sell some players and sell some homegrown talent, that's fine. I am looking to potentially sell Tamas as well. I don't think he's good enough for us, but if I could sell him to someone in our country, that's great. There's some players I don't think are good enough for me, and I feel like this guy's one of those players. Even if he's a good player who could become a leading player for the division, the fact that our stats have gone so high that a good player for our division is not good enough for me anymore, I think says a lot about how much we've grown the club as a whole. But there you go. And we've got 9 players who are homegrown in club and 12 homegrown in nation. So that's a good sign. We can let some players go and it would not be the end of the world. But what do I do to improve the squad? Well, there's a few things I can do. Delgado's definitely a player that I feel like can actually help us. Yes, I've definitely overpaid for him to bring him into the club. But I feel like even if he didn't have the best of ratings, which I feel like might be just because he's not used to the country, I feel like this guy is definitely one of those players I can rely on if I sell Kavlina in the future, because I don't need to worry about the homegrown stats so much anymore, which is great. I just need to keep enough homegrown players that would be perfect, and that's good. But Kavlina, Delgado are definitely players I can keep around. I can get rid of this guy now, and it would not hurt me in the slightest. I might just send him out on loan to players, to countries. I might just send this guy out on loan to clubs in our division now, which is saying a lot, and I feel like I can get away with it at this point. But where do I need to improve the squad? If I looked at the star ratings, it would be the right back position, centre back position, even though I've got plenty of centre backs at this point. And maybe I should just let the centre backs grow and become better. Like, I've got this guy. Why do I need to improve the centre back when I've literally got all these players coming back? I feel like centre back, I could literally just send players back and come back to us and be fine. And we got Kusawa. Vals I could just let go of. He's not homegrown club or nation, so I literally could just sell this guy and be better for it, because he's not going to get much better. And he is also inconsistent, and he's also wanted by a load of clubs. Could I sell him for good money though? I signed him for £1.7 million. I feel like even though he's had good ratings, he's not that vital to my plan. So I feel like this guy's going to be sold. Left back, Martinez is the main man. We got Vieira as well, who is not homegrown at club. I don't think he can become homegrown at club. He's also wanted by club. So I've got a load of players I could just sell. Molnar is one of those players I don't think it's ever going to be good enough for the club, but I could just sell him anyway. And it's one of those players that maybe he just needs a loan spell and he could do better. But I think left back is a position we need to strengthen it in anyway. Julius Cesar, I could just sell. I don't think he's ever going to be good enough for us. And does he have a clause? No, he does not have a clause in his contract for his loan deal to do anything. He's got a year left in his contract as well, so I might just sell it. The guy, I sell him for a free transfer. I've already made my money back with a loan spell, so there you go. DM, I've definitely looked to improve it. Okay, Kate, I might sell. Centre midfield, I think at this point, it's perfect. We don't need to really strengthen the centre midfield. And we could just let some players go. That'll be fine. Boxe wants to go already. Noel's one of the players that I can just keep around. And it's great. Konya, I think I'll keep around as well. Even though he's loan listed, I can just keep him around at this point. But it is fine. Left winger, we've got enough players here. We've got 2 wonder kids here, effectively. I say wonder kids. Got enough a player that I'm not going to use there, so there's that. And Hambelik's homegrown nation, Salazar's homegrown at club. And it's one of those things where I feel like I can get away with a lot of things at this point. The fact we've got all these players who could also play in this position as well. Diaz is now a wonder kid, so that's great. I'm going to take these 2 players out of here. Take Hambelik out, he's homegrown. Bogner's homegrown at club, which is great. Bogner's also, Bakador's also doing that as well. I feel like we've got enough players that we can just justify keeping around. This guy, I don't think I'm going to worry so much. I think he's going to be at the club this year and be a rotation option. He's got a good enough pace about him and acceleration, but I don't know what to do with him other than that. I feel like I want to make him homegrown at club and nation at some point. He's got 2 years left in his contract. He doesn't improve his wages if he does play games for me, but that's fine. He's not earning a lot of money, so that's perfectly fine. And striker-wise, I feel like we don't need to worry about the striker right now. Gardner is so good, and Brian Law will not play there, neither will Noel. And we've got all these 2 strikers come back from their loan spells, which is perfectly fine. Lapasek can play a striker, but he's not going to be playing there. So we got a lot of options right now, and I feel like I'm justifying my options for what I can do. But the question now is, where do I go from there as I take one out of there? I think we need another right back. Mostly because I want to have strength and depth. We need another left back, I think, to really strengthen up the position. Get rid of these 2 players who don't really play there, as far as I'm concerned. Get rid of Kuswa too, even though he can play there. I think centre back is definitely something we don't need to worry about so much. We've got so many options there, it's ridiculous. So let's take the players out that we don't want to play there and go with that. We've got a lot of players that generally don't need to play there, that I won't play there. DM, Andres Santos could play there along with Balanta, so I think that option strengthens up the area. Okay, I don't plan on doing that. I don't know why Vargas is even considered for the option, but okay. Right back, we've got that. Centre midfield, I think that suits the entire situation. We've got so many players that can play there. It's wonderful. Same with this position. And I feel like the area we need to strengthen is the 2 fullback positions. And that's it at this point. Maybe even the DM, but maybe those 3 positions and we'll be fine. Left back, right back, and DM. Maybe goalkeeper as well, actually, but I need to figure this one out for myself and see what we can go for option-wise. So, I'm going to go here. I'm going to ask my director of football, do you have a right back I can get at the end of his contract? No. How about a transfer for the right back position, yeah? A few options. A bit expensive, but I'm going to scout them anyway because I can. Wage is definitely a problem. Apart from this guy. But he's also 28. And he's unhappy and he's got a release clause. I don't plan on activating that release clause, but okay. They got relegated. So, yeah. Maybe he shouldn't be a player I sign. But that was also last year. They didn't even get promoted. Good lord. So, maybe I shouldn't go for this guy. What about the left back? Do I have an area I can bring in there? No. But what about transfers? You got these guys. They're literally inverted wing backs for the most part. But we're going to scam anyway. We've got Mitchell, who's okay, but on too much money. No reason to go for this guy. We've got Buta, who again, on too much money and probably isn't good enough. And this guy, again, too much money. I don't know if he's even good enough anyway, so there's that. So we've got all these options. So we're now going to go for this. And there's a young talent here, a Russian talent. Immediately comes to my mind. Maybe I go for this guy. A bit too much money wage-wise, but is consistent, likes big matches, but is he good enough for us? Star player. Would be interested. Maybe I go for this guy. Maybe I go for this guy. Who knows? I'll scout either way and get an opinion. Oh, by the way, I got this guy's an under-19s coach. He's decent, isn't he? So, that's his opinion, by the way, for what we got here. What is his opinion? 12 and 11. Maybe not the best opinion, but £4.6 million release clause. That feels like a bargain, potentially. Do I go for it, though? He just signed a contract this year. So that's why he's a bit expensive, but maybe I go for him. Maybe I don't. The options there every way, and he would fit the mold of what I'm looking for. Good technique, good vision. Pass is not great, but the balance is good. Physical's alright. And good first touch. So let's compare him to Balanta. And is he worth my time? Deep line. Playmaker on defend. Might be better than Balanta. Defensively, not as good. But the balance is better. He's actually better physically. He's got not as good mentals. But while his composure's not as good, he's got better vision and better teamwork. This guy might work. This guy might work. First touch is better too. Yes, attacking is not as great, but the technique is also better. So, while the technique and mental side of things is not as good, and he's a year younger, and might want a bit more money, I don't think he's the end of the world. I might go for this guy. I might actually go for him. But I'll have to make sure we get a scout report that is actually put in by a good person, first and foremost. But in the meantime, if I want to go for young players, but if I wanted to go for younger players and go for their current ability, there are some options who I should probably go for. In fact, this guy could be an option who's a wing-back. 18 years of age, but he's inconsistent, so I might need to go elsewhere. But £1.3 million release clause. That feels like a bargain. That really feels like a bargain. 18 years of age. I've got to go for him, haven't I? It just feels like a no-brainer. Downside is his marking, isn't it? That is the only downside. But if I look at the wing-back on attack and train further back, it feels like an option I can go for, but his adaptability is going to be an issue, so maybe I shouldn't. Or I go for this guy, who I don't really need. I don't need a player in this position, but he could be decent. This is my problem right now. He's also one of my Napoli, Werder Bremen, and Monaco. He turns 19 in August, so I need to keep him around. He's a wonder kid, though. So do I make the option? He's cheap, though. He's going to be a cheap option. The fact that it's 3.5 million pounds going in. What do I do with this guy? I also could just go for this guy. He's already homegrown at Nation in Hungary, so he would actually count towards some things. He's also one of my Gladbach and Porto, so if they go in for him, I'm going to go for this guy. I don't need him for the homegrown club thing because he's homegrown at Nation already. So he would actually cover some positions, some areas I'd need to cover anyway in the future. So that's fine. I know he's not amazing, but I might just send him back on loan to his club anyway and go for that. But that's just me thinking out loud. The potential he's got, if I send him back on loan to his club, then they will help him develop, I think. What's annoying me is that I keep on finding these talents that I think could be amazing, but then I realize they're not going to be cheap or they're going to be inconsistent. It's annoying, but I keep on finding these talents. In the meantime, though, we are 12th place in the coefficients. We are losing a 9.875 year this year. I'm hoping that we can just keep our good talents together. As things stand, without doing anything, we don't go up or down a position. We do need to do better than Scotland, but they're also losing at 10.2 years. So if anything, they need to do better than us anyway. The next 2 years are going to be so vital for our point of view because Ukraine are losing amazing years. Belgium are losing 2 better years, as Austria. So, and then Turkey as well. So we could potentially be looking at 3 different nations, maybe even 4 if we look at Portugal, and think we can overtake these nations right now. But we need to do better with the years and do another 15.3 season if we are looking at potentially overtaking all these nations. Everyone else is kind of out of our reach, let's be honest, because the Netherlands have been amazing, as have France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and England. England's in another league itself, but that's what it is. But in the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is ending this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys would like to share this video and that you subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a lot. What do you think I should do in the transfer window? Where do you think I should strengthen? And what moves should I be making elsewhere? And how should I be helping the clubs in my nation improve? I want to hear your thoughts and opinions and all that down below. But anyway, until next time, goodbye and well, good night.